opportunities in the health and wellness space, the next stage of wearables, and how to enter the metaverse. That and more on today's episode.
Want to know what's next? For over 2 decades, we've led the world's most influential brands to create the right products at the right time for tomorrow's consumer. This is WGSN's Client Questions Answered.
Hello and welcome to the show where our experts from around the globe unpack your biggest challenges. I'm Carla Bazzashi, President and CEO at WGSN. Let's get started. Our first question comes from a client asking, what will be the opportunities for brands in the health and wellness space over the next 18 months? Giving us their take on this is Alison Rees, our Senior Strategist on Insight, based in Los Angeles. Over to you, Alison.
There are huge opportunities for the metaverse and sport. Zwift is a company that we've been following since the pandemic. It's a functional metaverse for cyclists. So you hook up your bike trainer to Zwift and you are able to take virtual rides with your friends. You have your own avatar that's dressed the same as you in the same kit and has the same bike. There's no surprise that this became really popular during the pandemic. And now they have about 5 million users with 50,000 active daily users. We've also been following the rise of exercise to earn programs. So looking at brands like Sweatcoin and ActiFit, these are companies that are really incentivizing exercise through crypto rewards.
Amazing, great advice there. Our next question comes from a client asking, tell us about the next stage of wearables. What are we not currently focusing on, which will be relevant in the future, and what are the implications for brands? Let's hear what Joe McDonnell, our Head of Insight based in London, has to say.
Well, the first thing to say is make sure it's right for your consumer. So not every consumer group wants to be measuring, wants to be quantifying, wants to be over-optimizing their lifestyles. So make sure it fits with your brand. But then within the group that do, within the group that want to focus on performance, there's loads of opportunities. So mental health is a growing space, growing importance for consumers. And there's a great plugin, a great app called Thyself that just checks in on you a few times a day. It says, how are you feeling? It begins to pull out themes and trends that it can see. So you can begin to understand your own mood and how it fluctuates throughout the day a little bit more. And then within the alcohol category, obviously the growth of no and low alcohol beverages and the kind of movement away from alcohol for a lot of consumer groups ties in very, very nicely to wearables. Because as we begin to quantify more, as we begin to see how sleep and diet and alcohol consumption affect our performance, and then thinking back to mood and mental health, consumers will be able to join the dots more and more. So it's very, very possible that these sectors are going to continue to grow, especially as consumers begin to think about monitoring and measuring their health and their well-being through things like wearables.
Amazing, thanks Joe. Our consumer tech team has produced some great content that discusses wearables, from intelligence on digitizing healthcare to the Personal Tech Forecast 2024. Our final question for today comes from a client asking, as the metaverse continues to drive buzz and speculation, what should brands and marketeers be doing now? When is it a good time to start, and how should they do so? A great question. For this, we're heading over to Cassandra Napoli, our Senior Strategist for Insight, based in New York.
This is the time to experiment, but before diving in, brands really need to understand the 4 key pillars of the metaverse, which they can imagine as a pyramid. Now, it all starts with the consumer, which sits at the very bottom of the pyramid as it's the foundation for everything that comes next. The future of the metaverse literally rests on a consumer's interest and willingness to engage and participate in virtual spaces, but brands really need to start considering things like user safety and diversity and inclusion, because otherwise consumers simply won't want to spend time with them in virtual spaces. We are starting to track brands like Lego, for example, which is powering a kid-friendly metaverse for Gen Alpha, while the beauty brand Clinique has just launched a new NFT campaign called Metaverse Like Us, which aims to widen representation of avatars. As for the 3 remaining key pillars of the metaverse, it's all about community building, which is the foundation for co-creation, which is then the foundation for commerce or meta-commerce.
Brilliant. Thank you, Cassandra, for that answer. So that's it for this week. If you have any questions or comments that you'd like answered, please pop them in the comments box for our team. I'm Carla Bizashi, and I'll see you next time.